Hey guys, tonight we are journeying back to a time of immense faith and even greater fear. We're heading to early modern Europe, to a small village in the heart of the Holy Roman Empire. During the grip of the Great Witch craze, we're going to step into the life of a common person and experience the terrifying, systematic, and brutal reality of being accused of witchcraft. This is a story that reveals how petty neighborhood squabbles, a climate of fear, and a fanatical belief system could combine to create a machine of persecution that consumed tens of thousands of lives. This is not a story of magic. It is a story of a very human and very horrifying madness. And let's be perfectly honest, you, with your modern, skeptical mind, would be in immense trouble. Your sarcastic sense of humor, your tendency to roll your eyes at superstition, or even just your ownership of a black cat would be enough to get you noticed. Your knowledge of herbal tea from your health food store would be seen as evidence of arcane potion making. You would be accused, and you would not survive the process. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It's a simple gesture that helps this channel immensely and lets me know that you appreciate these quiet dives into the darker corners of our history. And as always, I'd love to see where in the world you are listening from. Please post your city or country and the local time in the comments. It's wonderful to see our community come together for our nightly journey. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your world is small and circumscribed. You live in a small village nestled in a wooded valley. Your life is one of hard, agricultural labor, governed by the rhythm of the seasons and the tolling of the church bell, but it is also governed by a deep and pervasive fear. You believe, and everyone you know believes, that the world is a battleground between the forces of God and the forces of Satan. God brings the sun, the gentle rain, the healthy child, the bountiful harvest, but the devil is always at work, through his earthly agents, bringing the sudden storm, the spoiled milk, the sick child, and the blighted crop. Misfortune in your world is never random. It is an act of malice, and it is maleficium, evil magic. And when misfortune strikes, your community does not look for a scientific cause. It looks for a culprit. It looks for a witch. You are a woman who has lived in this village your entire life. Perhaps you are a widow, living alone in a small cottage at the edge of the village. You inherited the cottage and a small piece of land from your late husband, which gives you a measure of independence that is unusual and slightly suspect. For a woman in your time, you are skilled in the use of herbs, a knowledge passed down from your mother. You can make a poultice to soothe a burn, a tea to calm a fever. People come to you for these small remedies. They are grateful for your help, but there is always a flicker of fear in their eyes. The power to heal, they know, is closely related to the power to harm. Your journey into the nightmare begins not with a pact with the devil, but with a petty, mundane, human dispute. Your neighbor, Conrad, is a surly, unlucky man whose chickens keep getting into your small garden and eating your cabbage seedlings. You have complained to him several times. One afternoon, you see his chickens in your garden again. You shoo them out, and you have a heated argument with Conrad over the low stone wall that separates your properties. Harsh words are exchanged, you, in your anger. Tell him that he and his wretched chickens are a curse on this village. You turn and go back into your cottage. Your heart filled with a simple, righteous anger. A week later, Conrad's prize dairy cow, his most valuable possession, a source of milk, butter, and wealth, suddenly falls ill. Its milk dries up. It refuses to eat. And within 2 days, it is dead in a different world. This would be a simple tragedy, a case of sickness or bad fodder. But in your world, it is an act of malice. Conrad and his wife do not look for a natural cause. They look for a supernatural one. And they remember your argument. They remember the angry glare in your eyes. They remember the curse you muttered. The conclusion to them is simple, logical, and absolute. You have bewitched their cow. The accusation does not come directly. Not at first. It begins as a whisper, a poison that seeps into the social fabric of the village. Conrad's wife, weeping at the village well, tells her friends about the argument, about your evil eye, and about her poor. Dead cow. The story spreads. As stories do in a small community where gossip is the main form of entertainment and information, you begin to notice a change. The friendly greetings you once received from your neighbors become cooler, more hesitant. People avert their eyes when you pass them in the lane. When you go to the market, the woman you have bought your bread from for 20 years is suddenly curt and impatient with you. A wall of silence and suspicion is being built around you, brick by invisible brick. Now, every small misfortune in the village is laid at your door. A great hailstorm sweeps through the valley and damages the crops. The villagers remember seeing you looking up at the clouds that morning. A child comes down with a fever. The mother remembers that you gave the child a sweet a few days before. A batch of beer at the local tavern goes sour. The innkeeper recalls that you had walked past his establishment earlier that day. The whispers become a low, constant murmur. The coincidences are piling up, and in the fearful minds of your neighbors, they are forming a pattern, a narrative of malevolent witchcraft. You're a woman living alone who knows a bit about herbs and owns a black cat. In your society, this is the equivalent of having, "I am a witch, please persecute me," tattooed on your forehead. This great witch hunt of the early modern period, a common historical fact, was not a purely medieval phenomenon. It exploded in the 1500s and 1600s. An age of immense social anxiety. The religious unity of Europe had been shattered by the Protestant Reformation. The climate was changing, the Little Ice Age bringing colder winters and failed harvests. It was a world that felt unstable, out of control, and in such times, people look for scapegoats. Historians and sociologists will one day debate the primary cause of this great European madness. Was it a top-down phenomenon, driven by theologians and legal scholars who, with the help of the newly invented printing press, disseminated a complex, terrifying, and coherent demonology across the continent? Or was it a bottom-up phenomenon, bubbling up from the folk beliefs and village-level anxieties of the common people? With the authorities simply responding to a popular demand for persecution, the truth is a complex feedback loop. Where the learned theories of the elite gave a framework and a justification to the pre-existing fears and superstitions of the folk, you only know the reality of your own situation. The whispers are growing louder. You feel the fear and hatred of your own community directed at you like a physical force. You are becoming a pariah. The tipping point comes when Conrad, your neighbor, encouraged by the village priest, decides to make a formal accusation. He travels to the nearest town and presents his case to the local magistrate. He tells the story of your argument, of his dead cow, and he adds the other stories he has now collected from the other villagers: the hailstorm, the sick child, the sour beer. A few days later, you see them coming. The magistrate's men, they are not here to ask questions. They are here to make an arrest. The informal, social persecution is about to become a formal, legal one. The whispers that began with a dead cow have now become a roar that will bring the full, terrifying weight of the law down upon you. Your journey into the heart of the witch trial has begun. The magistrate's men arrive at your cottage as dusk is falling. There are two of them, their faces grim and set. They do not need to state their purpose. The entire village is watching from their windows, the whispers having already done their work. Your arrest is not an investigation. It is a confirmation of a verdict already reached in the court of public opinion. You are led from your home, the place of your entire life's history, and you are taken to the village lockup. It is a small, stone-walled room in the cellar of the town hall, a place known as the witch hole. It is cold, damp, and smells of stale fear. The heavy wooden door is barred behind you. Your journey into the formal machinery of the witch trial has begun. You spend a few days in this cold, dark solitude, your mind a whirlwind of terror and disbelief. How could a simple argument with your neighbor over a chicken lead to this? But you know it was not just the argument. It was the years of being slightly different, a woman living alone. A woman with a knowledge of herbs. A woman who did not suffer fools gladly. In a world that fears nonconformity. Your small independence has become a crime. The whispers in the village have now become a roar of accusation. The local magistrate, a man more concerned with collecting taxes than with complex theological matters, feels the pressure from the community. He is ill-equipped to handle a case of witchcraft, a crime against God himself. And so he does what many in his position do. He sends for an expert. A few weeks into your imprisonment, a new figure arrives in the village. He is not a local lord or a familiar priest. He is a man who carries with him an aura of grim. Intellectual authority? He is a witch hunter. He might be a lawyer, or a theologian from a distant university. A man who has made the study of demonology and the prosecution of witches his life's work. He is not a wild-eyed fanatic. He is calm, sober, and absolutely, unshakably certain of the reality and the imminent threat of the devil's work in the world. He sees himself not as a persecutor, but as a physician. And your village is the sick patient he has come to cure. He arrives armed with his most powerful weapon, a book. It is the Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches. This is a common historical text from your time, a terrifyingly detailed and scientific guide to the world of witchcraft. It explains how to identify a witch, how to conduct an interrogation, how to interpret the evidence, and how to secure a confession. It is a book filled with a twisted, woman-hating logic that gives the witch hunter the intellectual framework and the divine justification for the terrible work he is about to undertake. The town has called in a specialist to handle your case. He's a highly respected consultant with a degree in demonology and a copy of Witch Hunting for Dummies. You're in very capable, very terrifying hands. The witch hunter does not come to see you at first. His initial work is with the community. He sets up his headquarters at the local inn, and he begins to gather testimony. The entire village is now gripped by a full-blown panic, a hysteria fanned by the presence of this official expert. His arrival validates their worst fears among the whispers, which were once just gossip, are now transformed into sworn, legal testimony. People flock to him, eager to unburden their suspicions and to demonstrate their own piety. The web of accusations around you grows thicker and more elaborate. Conrad, your neighbor, retells the story of his dead cow, adding new details, remembering how you had a strange, dark look in your eye. Another villager recalls that you were out gathering herbs during the last hailstorm, proof that you were conjuring it. A woman whose child had a fever now remembers that you had given the child an apple the day before, and that the apple must have been cursed. Every misfortune, every unexplained event from the past few years is now re-examined and laid at your door. The investigator is gathering evidence by asking all your neighbors if you've ever looked at them funny. The response has been overwhelming. Apparently, you have... Historians will one day debate the engine of this madness. Was it a top-down phenomenon, driven by elite men like the one who has just arrived in your village, who imposed their learned demonology on a fearful populace? Or was it a bottom-up hysteria, bubbling up from the genuine folk beliefs and social anxieties of the village? With the authorities merely giving it a legal structure, you are living in the heart of the terrible feedback loop, where both are true. The fears of the people feed the certainty of the expert, and the certainty of the expert inflames the fears of the people. You also know, from the whispers of a sympathetic jailer, that there is a financial incentive at work. The witch hunter is paid a fee for every witch he successfully convicts. And, more importantly, the property of a convicted witch is confiscated, to be split between the local feudal lord and the church. Your small cottage, your garden, your few possessions, they are a potential source of profit. Justice, it seems, can be a lucrative business. After several days of gathering this evidence, the witch hunter finally comes to see you. You are brought from your filthy cell to a room in the town hall. He is there, sitting at a table, his copy of the Malleus Maleficarum open before him. He looks at you not with hatred, but with a kind of intense, clinical curiosity, like a naturalist examining a strange and venomous insect. He begins to question you. His voice is calm and reasonable. He does not shout. He asks you about your faith. He asks you about your prayers, He asks you about your neighbors. He asks you if you have ever had a dream in which a small, dark animal spoke to you. He is not looking for the truth. He is looking for a deviation from the prescribed answers. He is looking for a single slip, a single contradiction, that he can interpret as a sign of the devil's influence. Good woman, he says, his voice a mask of paternal concern. I am here to help you. The devil is a cunning master, and he has laid a snare for your soul. But the mercy of God is infinite. I urge you, confess your compact with the evil one. Tell me of the Sabbaths you have attended, of the familiars you have kept. Unburden your soul now, and you may yet be saved from the eternal fires. You are stunned into silence. A witch's Sabbath familiars. You have no idea what he is talking about. These are the lurid, fantastical details from his books. A complex demonology that has no connection to your simple village life. I do not understand, you stammer. I am a good Christian woman. I have made no pact with anyone. He sighs. A sad, disappointed sound. They all say this at first, he says, more to his clerk than to you. The devil is a great liar, and he teaches his followers to be the same. Her stubbornness is a clear sign of his hold upon her. He looks at you again, his eyes now cold and hard. You deny it now, but we have ways of encouraging the truth. We have methods for loosening a tongue that has been tied by Satan. He leaves you with that chilling pronouncement. You are taken back to your cell, but your state of mind has changed. You are no longer just a victim of your neighbor's petty grudges and superstitions. You are now in the hands of a professional, a man with a book, with a system, and with an absolute, unshakable conviction in your guilt. You are no longer just an accused person. You are a case study, a specimen to be dissected according to the terrible science of his trade. You sit in the darkness of your cell, and you feel the true, cold terror of your situation settle upon you. The whispers of the village have become a roar of formal accusation. The hunt is no longer a matter of gossip. It is now a matter of official, legal procedure, and with a chilling certainty. What the next step in that procedure will be, he will now look for the physical proof of your guilt, the proof that is said to be written on your very own body. You are left in the cold, damp darkness of your cell, the witch hunter's final words echoing in the silence. We have methods for loosening a tongue that has been tied by Satan. You are no longer just a subject of village gossip. You are a formal case, a puzzle to be solved by a man who already believes he knows the answer. Your denial of guilt is not seen as a statement of fact, but as a symptom of the disease he has come to cure after a few more days in the soul-crushing isolation of the witch hole. The door is unbarred. The magistrate's men enter, not with a bowl of thin porridge, but with chains. They tell you that the investigator requires your presence. The time for simple questions is over. The time for the search for physical proof has begun. You are taken to a larger room in the town hall. It is cold and bare. The witch hunter is there, along with the local magistrate and the village priest. There are also 2 other women present. Older, sour-faced women from the village whom you recognize as the local midwife's rivals. They are here, you are told, to act as witnesses and to ensure propriety, the presence of other women does not feel like a comfort. It feels like a deepening of your humiliation. The witch hunter begins to speak. He explains, with the calm, patient tone of a scholar delivering a lecture, the theological basis for what is about to happen. When a person makes a pact with the devil, he says, the devil seals that pact by leaving a physical mark upon their body. This devil's mark is a spot that is dead to all feeling, a place where a pin can be inserted without causing pain and without drawing blood. Sometimes, he continues, the devil also grants his servant a witch's teat, a small, unnatural protuberance on the skin, where she can suckle her demonic familiars, her cat, her toad, or her crow. His lecture is a common historical fact of your time, a scientific theory as real to him as the stone floor beneath your feet. We will now, he concludes, search for this mark upon you. It will be the irrefutable proof of your guilt. The two women are ordered to strip you of your rough wool dress. You stand there, naked and shivering in the cold room, before the eyes of the magistrate, the priest, and the witch hunter. The shame is a physical thing, a hot wave that washes over you. It is designed to be. This is the first stage of the process to strip you not just of your clothes, but of your dignity, of your very personhood. Then the shaving begins. One of the women takes a sharp razor and begins to shave your entire body, your head, your underarms. Every part of you is rendered bare. The justification is that the devil's mark can be small and easily hidden by hair. The reality is that it is another act of profound, ritualized degradation. You are no longer a woman. You are a piece of flesh to be examined when the shaving is complete. The search begins. The witch hunter, or perhaps a specialist he has brought with him, a man known as a witch pricker, begins his examination. He forces you to stand, to turn, to bend, as he scrutinizes every inch of your skin. He is looking for any abnormality, every mole you have had since childhood, every small wart, every old scar, every skin tag. Each is now a potential sign of a satanic pact. The good news is, they're looking for physical evidence. The bad news is, the physical evidence can be any mole, freckle, or scar you've ever had. It's a very thorough, pre-existing condition-based approach to justice. He finds a small, dark mole on your back, just below your shoulder blade. Ah, he says, his voice filled with a quiet, triumphant satisfaction. What is this? He produces his primary tool. It is a long, sharp pin or bodkin, its handle made of polished wood. This is the pricker. He holds it up for the magistrate to see. We will now test the mark, he announces. You are held firmly by the two women. The pricker approaches you from behind. You know what is supposed to happen. If you cry out in pain, if the mark bleeds, it is a sign of your innocence. Perhaps, but you also know that these men have a way of seeing what they want to see. He places the tip of the pin against the mole on your back. You brace yourself for the sharp sting of the metal. He pushes, and you feel nothing. A dull pressure? Perhaps, but no sharp pain. And you feel no trickle of blood running down your back. As you can see, masters, the pricker says, his voice ringing with authority. The pin goes deep. She does not flinch, and not a single drop of blood is produced. It is the devil's mark. It is insensible to pain. He withdraws the pin. The magistrate and the priest nod grimly. The proof has been found. What you do not know, what you cannot see, is the nature of the tool he is using. This is an obscure and devious secret of his trade. Many professional witch prickers were charlatans, their careers and their fees dependent on finding guilt where there was none. The pin he used was a trick device, a stage magician's prop used for a deadly performance. It had a hollow handle and a needle that would retract into it under pressure. He did not actually pierce your skin. He simply pressed the blunt end of the handle against you, creating the illusion of a deep insertion without causing any real pain or drawing any blood. The test was a fraud. The outcome was determined before he even began. Historians will one day debate the origins of this strange and specific belief in a physical, insensible mark. Was it a concept invented by the demonologists and lawyers to create a form of scientific proof for a supernatural crime? Or did it have its roots in older folk traditions? In the belief that cunning women and magicians had special markings on their bodies? The legalistic, procedural nature of your examination suggests that this is a new, terrible form of pseudo-scientific persecution. The pricker announces that he has found two other smaller marks on your leg and your arm, and he tests them with the same result. The evidence is now in his eyes. Overwhelming. You stand there, naked, shorn, and humiliated. Your own body, the moles and freckles you have lived with your entire life, has been used as a witness against you. You try to protest. I felt nothing because you did not prick me. You cry out, your voice shaking. The witch hunter smiles a thin, pitying smile. Of course, my child, he says. That is what the devil would have you believe. He is a master of illusion. He has deadened your flesh so that you cannot feel the mark of your own damnation. Your words are useless. Your reality does not matter. The evidence has been found. The facts have been established. The public and legal justification for the next stage of the process is now secure. You are given back your rough tunic and led back to your cell. But you are no longer just an accused woman. You are now a woman who bears the physical, proven mark of the devil upon her body. Your denials are now not just the words of a liar, but the blasphemies of a stubborn, proven witch. The witch hunter has what he needs. He now knows you are guilty. His only remaining task is to make you tell him the details of your impossible crimes. And he has a room and a set of tools, specifically designed for that purpose. You are back in your cold, dark cell, but you are no longer just an accused woman. You are a proven witch. The devil's mark has been found upon your body. To the witch hunter and the magistrate, your guilt is no longer a matter of suspicion. It is a physical, demonstrated fact. Your continued denials are not seen as pleas of innocence, but as acts of profound, demonic stubbornness. The devil, they believe, has a hold on your tongue, preventing you from confessing your sins and saving your soul. And they have a remedy for that. The church and the law have, through centuries of experience, developed a set of tools designed specifically to break the devil's grip on a stubborn tongue. They are about to invite you to the torture chamber. The next day, the guards come for you again. They lead you not to the familiar town hall, but down a flight of stone steps into the cellar of the old castle that overlooks your town. The air grows cold and smells of damp earth, of mildew, and of something else. A faint, metallic, and deeply unsettling smell of old. Cold sweat. It is the smell of fear. You are brought into a small, windowless stone room, lit by a single, flickering torch. The room is not filled with elaborate, monstrous machines. It is simple, functional, and terrifying. Along one wall are a collection of iron and wooden instruments, laid out with a neat, workmanlike order screws and vices, ropes and pulleys, heavy iron boots. This is a craftsman's workshop. The craft practiced here is the extraction of confessions. The witch hunter is here, as is the magistrate. There is also another man, a large, silent individual with powerful arms, dressed in a simple leather apron. He is the executioner, the town's master of justice. And in the corner, a clerk sits at a small table, a pot of ink and a fresh sheet of parchment ready. Every sound you make here, every plea, every scream, will be meticulously documented as part of this legal procedure. The witch hunter begins to speak. his voice still calm, still reasonable. He explains what is about to happen. He is not, he assures you, doing this out of cruelty. He is doing it out of love. Love for your immortal soul. He explains that the pain he is about to inflict is a physical medicine for a spiritual disease. The devil has hardened your heart and your body. The application of pain is a necessary tool to break that satanic bond, to free your tongue so that you can confess, repent, and ultimately save yourself from the eternal, unimaginable tortures of hell. The good news is, the witch hunter is deeply concerned for your eternal soul. The bad news is, his primary method for saving it involves a series of painful, joint dislocating procedures. It's a very aggressive form of spiritual therapy. This is the sanctioned, legal reality of your world. Torture is not a punishment. It is a step in the investigation. Its use is permitted by the great legal codes of the Holy Roman Empire to secure a confession when there is already sufficient proof of guilt, and the devil's mark they found on your back is that proof. The witch hunter then begins the process known as terition. This is the first stage. The psychological assault. The executioner picks up one of the instruments. This, the witch hunter says, his voice instructional, is a thumbscrew, a simple device. We place your thumb inside, and we turn the screw. It is a remarkable tool for focusing the mind. He moves on. And these are the Spanish boots, he says, pointing to two pieces of metal plating that are placed around the shins, with screws to tighten them. They are very effective at persuading the legs to walk the path of truth. The bones of the shins are quite responsive to pressure. He gestures to the rope and pulley hanging from a great wooden beam on the ceiling. The strappado, he says. We have found this to be one of the most effective tools for spiritual elevation. Your hands are tied behind your back, and we simply hoist you into the air. The weight of your own body provides the necessary persuasion upon your shoulder joints. It is said that the pain is so intense it can drive the devil himself from a person's body. The chamber has a wide variety of artisanal, handcrafted tools designed to encourage open and honest communication. This one is a thumbscrew. It's great for cracking nuts and confessions after this calm, horrifying tour of the instruments. The witch hunter looks at you, his eyes full of a strange, sincere pity. All of this can be avoided, he says softly. You hold the key. Just confess. Tell us the truth. Tell us of your pact with the evil one. Tell us who you saw at the Sabbath. Do this, and you can spare yourself this unpleasantness. This pain is a choice you are making. You look at his face, at the faces of the magistrate and the priest. You see no cruelty there. You see only absolute, unshakable certainty. They truly believe they are helping you. And this is the most terrifying thing of all. They are not monsters. They are righteous men, performing what they believe to be God's work. Your mind is reeling. Every instinct is screaming at you to say yes, to confess to anything they want, to make this stop before it even begins. But a small, stubborn part of you, the part that still remembers who you are, the part that knows you are innocent, refuses. I have nothing to confess, you whisper. Your voice a thin, reedy sound in the cold. Stone room, the witch hunter sighs, a deep, sorrowful sound, like a father whose child has refused her medicine. So be it, he says. He nods to the executioner. Begin with the thumbscrews. Let us see if a small pain can awaken her conscience. You are forced into a chair. The executioner takes your hand. It feels small and fragile in his grate. Calloused grip. He places your thumb into the iron vise. He begins to turn the screw. The pressure is immediate, intense. It is a grinding, crushing pain that seems to radiate up your entire arm. It feels as if your bone is being reduced to powder. You cry out, a sharp, involuntary gasp. Confess, my daughter. the witch hunter's voice says, calm and close. Tell us when you first danced with the devil. I have never, you begin to say. But the executioner gives the screw another turn, and your words are lost in a fresh wave of agony. The process is slow and methodical. A few turns of the screw, then the question, then a few more turns. Your thumb is a universe of white-hot, blinding pain. You are starting to lose sense of the room, of anything beyond this overwhelming physical sensation. Historians will one day debate the procedural safeguards that were supposed to surround this process. The law often stated that torture should not be maiming, and that a confession made during the application of pain was not valid unless it was freely repeated a day later. But you are living the reality, not the theory. And the reality is that these distinctions are meaningless in the face of such unbearable agony. The goal is simply to break you, and you are breaking. The pain is a great, gray ocean, and you are drowning in it. The story of your life. Your identity as an innocent woman feels like a distant, irrelevant thing. The only thing that is real is the crushing pressure on your thumb, and the calm, insistent voice of the witch hunter, offering you the only possible escape. Who else was there? He asks, his voice cutting through the haze of your pain. Who else did you see? Dancing for Satan? Your friends? Your neighbors? Give us their names. Give us their names, and we can make this stop. The screw turns again, and a scream is torn from your throat. A long, raw, animal sound. The pain is absolute. It has consumed you. And you know, with a sudden, terrible clarity, that you will do anything, say anything, to make it end. The pain is absolute. It is a universe of pure, white-hot agony that radiates from your crushed thumb and consumes your entire being. It erases thought. It erases memory. It erases your very identity. You are no longer a woman. No longer the person you thought you were. You are just a single, screaming nerve ending, and through the red haze of your suffering, you hear the calm, patient voice of the witch hunter, offering you the only possible escape. Confess, my daughter, he says. Tell us the truth, and we can make this stop. And your will, which you thought was so strong, shatters into 1,000 pieces. A single word is torn from your throat. A ragged, desperate sound. Yes. You sob. I confess. Instantly. The pressure is released. The executioner turns the screw, and the crushing agony recedes, leaving behind a throbbing, swollen, and profoundly painful echo. A wave of dizziness and nausea washes over you, but it is a wave of relief. The pain has stopped. That is all that matters. You have confessed, but your ordeal is far from over. It has simply entered a new, more collaborative phase. It is not enough for you to say you are a witch. The witch hunter needs the details. He needs a full, coherent narrative of your damnation. A story that will fit the established patterns from his books. A story that will be legally sufficient for a conviction. And since you cannot provide one, he will help you. He will, in effect, write your confession for you. You are given a cup of water. You are allowed a few moments to compose yourself. Then the questioning begins again, but its nature has changed. It is no longer an interrogation. It is an instruction. You have done well to unburden your soul, the witch hunter says. His voice once again filled with a gentle, paternal quality. Now, you must help us understand the full extent of your sins. Let us begin at the beginning. Your pact with the devil. It was in the forest at the edge of the village. Was it not near the old oak tree? You stare at him, your mind a confused fog of pain. The forest. You have been there 100 times to gather firewood. You do not understand what he is asking. You hesitate. The executioner, standing silently beside you, makes a small, almost imperceptible movement towards the thumbscrews. Yes, you say quickly, the word tumbling out of you. Yes, the forest. By the old oak. Good, the witch hunter says. With an encouraging smile, you see how the truth wishes to be free, and he came to you there. Did he not the evil one? He appeared as a tall man, dressed in black clothes. You have never seen such a man, but you have learned the rules of this terrible game. A yes keeps the pain at bay. A no brings it closer. Yes, you whisper. A tall man in black, and he promised you things. Did he not, the witch hunter continues, leading you through the catechism of your own damnation? He promised you worldly power, the power to take revenge on your enemies, the love of a man you desired. Yes, and in return, you renounced your holy baptism, you kissed his book to seal your pact. Yes, I did. You have just created your own past. It is a story woven from his questions, and you're desperate. Single word answers. It is a complete fiction. But in this cold stone room, it is becoming the official, documented truth. The clerk in the corner is writing it all down, his quill scratching away. Giving your coerced words the weight of legal testimony, now that the pact has been established. The witch hunter moves on to the details of your new life as a witch. Tell me of your familiar, he says. The small demon given to you by your master to aid in your works of evil. It was your black cat. Was it not the one your neighbors have spoken of? Your cat. Tomkin. A simple animal you have had since he was a kitten. A good mouser. You think of him, and a fresh wave of despair washes over you. Even he is to be a part of this nightmare. Yes, you say. Your voice dead. The cat? And you would suckle this demon, the witch hunter prompts, at the secret mark he placed upon your body. The mark we have already found. Yes. Then he leads you into the most lurid and fantastical part of your confession, the witch's Sabbath. This is a common historical fact of your time, a belief shared by peasants and princes alike, a terrifying vision of a secret. Nocturnal gathering where witches would congregate to worship the devil. You would travel to this Sabbath. Would you not, he asks. You would anoint your body with a flying ointment, and you would ride through the night sky on a broomstick, or on the back of a goat. It is a ludicrous, impossible image. But you have confessed to a pact with the devil. To deny flying on a broomstick now would seem like a small, stubborn, and pointless act of defiance. Yes, you say, I flew. He asks for details. Details you cannot possibly provide. What was eaten at the feast? What did the devil's music sound like? Did you participate in the obscene rituals he provides the answers for you? In the form of questions. The meat at the feast, it tasted of ash. Did it not? The music was a discordant screeching of pipes and drums. Did you not kiss the devil's hindquarters in a gesture of obscene fealty? Yes, you whisper. To all of it? Yes. Your confession is getting really detailed, apparently. Last Tuesday you were at a demonic party in the woods, and the catering was terrible. The details are important for a credible confession. Historians will one day study the records of these trials and be struck by the remarkable, almost word-for-word similarity of the confessions given by accused witches hundreds of miles and hundreds of years apart. They will see it as proof not of a vast, underground conspiracy of devil worshippers, but of the fact that the interrogators were all working from the same script, the same textbooks of demonology, asking the same leading questions to victims who were broken by the same methods of torture. Finally, the witch hunter brings the questioning back to the original accusation, back to the real world of your village. Now, he says, his voice growing harder, tell us of your maleficium. Tell us of the evil you have done. It was you who caused Conrad's cow to sicken and die. Was it not you cursed it after your argument? You think of the pain in your thumb. You think of the looming threat of the strepto. Yes. You sob. It was me. I cursed his cow. And the great hailstorm last summer that destroyed the crops in the upper fields. That was your work as well. You summoned the storm. Yes. And the baker's child, the one who fell sick with a fever. You gave the child a cursed apple. Yes, yes, I confess to it all. You have confessed. You have accepted the role they have written for you. You are the scapegoat. You are the secret. Malevolent cancer at the heart of the community. All the random misfortune, all the bad luck. All the fear and anxiety of village life now has a cause. And that cause is you. You are exhausted, your body a universe of pain, your mind a hollowed-out ruin. You have given him the story he wants, surely, now. It is over. But the witch hunter leans forward. He is not finished. He has one final, and most important, set of questions. You have confessed your own sins, my child, and that is good for your soul, he says, his voice dangerously soft. But you are not alone in these acts. A witch does not work alone. She is part of a coven. You were not the only one dancing for the devil in the forest. Now, you must tell us the names of the other witches. Who was there with you? Who else is in your coven? A new, cold terror, even worse than the fear of physical pain, seizes you. He is not just asking for your life. He is now asking you to become the instrument of death for others. He is asking you to turn the terrible machine of the witch hunt upon your own friends and neighbors. You have confessed in a torrent of pain and terror. You have admitted to a lifetime of impossible crimes. You have told the witch hunter of your pact with the devil, of your flights on broomsticks, of your malevolent curses that have blighted the crops and sickened the livestock of your small village. You are exhausted, broken, your mind a hollowed-out ruin. Surely, now, your ordeal is over. You have given him the story he wants, but he is not finished with you. He leans forward, his voice a soft, conspiratorial whisper that is more terrifying than his shouts. You have done well, my child. He says, your soul is beginning to cleanse itself, but we know that the devil's work is never done alone. A witch is a social creature. A single rotten apple spoils the barrel. You were not the only one dancing in that dark forest, were you? Who else was there? Who are the other members of your coven? A new kind of terror, colder and deeper than the fear of physical pain, seizes you. To confess to your own impossible sins is one thing. It is a surrender, a breaking of your own spirit, but to name others, to point your finger at your friends and neighbors and condemn them to the same hell that is a different kind of sin. It is a betrayal not just of your body, but of your soul. It is the one last line of your own humanity. I was alone, you whisper. The word's a desperate lie. There were no others. The witch hunter's face, which had been arranged in a mask of gentle concern, hardens instantly. He sighs, a sound of profound theatrical disappointment. The devil still has a hold on your tongue, he says, shaking his head sadly. He is protecting his other servants. Your loyalty to your dark master is strong, but the grace of God and the tools of the law are stronger. He gives a slight, almost imperceptible nod to the executioner. The pain returns, but this time it is a different order of magnitude. They do not use the thumbscrews again. You are dragged to the center of the room, and your hands are bound behind your back. The rope from the ceiling, the rope of the strappado, is tied to your wrists. Name them, the witch hunter says, his voice calm. Who danced with you? No one. You sob. I was alone. The executioner and his assistant begin to pull on the rope. Your arms are wrenched high up behind your back, your shoulder joints protesting with a grinding. Tearing pain. Your feet leave the floor. Your entire body weight hangs from your dislocated shoulders. The pain is a white-hot, blinding sheet that consumes the world. It is an agony so absolute it erases all thought, all memory, all resolve. The names, the witch hunter's voice insists. Cutting through the red haze of your suffering? Give us the names, and the pain will stop. You are no longer a person. You are a creature of pure, mindless agony, and your entire being is focused on a single goal to make the pain stop. The last vestiges of your loyalty, of your integrity, of your humanity, are burned away in the fire of this torment, and you break. Completely. I will tell you, but you scream. The words a raw, inhuman sound. I will tell you everything. Please, let me down. You are lowered to the floor, a trembling, weeping, broken thing. The executioner wrenches your shoulders back into their sockets with a sickening crunch. You lie on the cold stone floor, sobbing. Now, the witch hunter says, his voice soft again. Let us begin again. Who was with you at the Sabbath? And now, the floodgates open. The names pour out of you. A torrent of desperate betrayal. Who do you name? You name anyone you can think of. Your mind, shattered by pain, grasps at faces. You name your enemies first. Conrad's wife. The woman whose whispers started all of this? Yes, she was there, you say. Her face contorted with a lustful glee as she danced with a goat-headed demon. It is a small, pathetic, and deeply satisfying moment of revenge. Who else, the witch hunter insists? You name the other outcasts. The old, half-mad woman who lives in the woods. The one the children are afraid of. The sullen, silent blacksmith who is known for his bad temper. You are sacrificing the other people on the margins of your village to save yourself. More. He says, there are always more. The devil's coven is large. Your mind is empty. You cannot think. And so you begin to name your friends. You name the woman who shared her bread with you when your own stores were low? Yes, you tell the witch hunter. She was there. She was poisoning the village well. You name the midwife who helped deliver your own children. A kind and skilled woman. You say you saw her offering an unbaptized infant to the devil. It is a monstrous, terrible lie, and it comes out of your mouth with an ease that horrifies you. This is the terrible engine of the great witch hunts. This is how they spread. It is a chain reaction of pain and betrayal. A single accusation leads to a single confession under torture. And that single confession, in its final, most terrible stage, produces a dozen new accusations, and each of those new victims will be brought to this same room, subjected to this same pain, and will be forced to produce their own list of names, until the entire community has consumed itself in a fire of fear and recrimination. Historians and psychologists will one day study the phenomenon of these coerced, detailed confessions. They will talk of cognitive breakdown, of the power of suggestion, of the human mind's desperate need to create a narrative to comply with the demands of an authority figure in a situation of extreme duress. You do not know these terms. You only know that you are a puppet, and the witch hunter is pulling your strings, making you dance to the tune of his demonological textbook. He feeds you the details, and you parrot them back. Did you not see her, the baker's wife, anointing a broomstick to fly? Yes. You whisper, your eyes squeeze shut. Yes, I saw it. And the old farmer, was he not the one who changed himself into a wolf to kill the sheep? Yes, it was him. You have become a fountain of lies, a creator of nightmares. You are a collaborator in your own damnation, and you are dragging your entire world down with you. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the witch hunter is satisfied. He has his list. He has the names of a dozen new witches. His investigation has been a stunning success. The clerk has written it all down, your confession, your accusations. Every name you have uttered, it is now a formal, legal document. The torture stops for good. You are given a drink of water, and you are taken back to your cell. The physical pain in your shoulders and your thumbs is a raging fire, but it is nothing compared to the new pain that has taken its place. It is the pain of your own conscience. It is the cold, sick, and absolute knowledge of what you have just done. You lie in the darkness of your cell. You are no longer an innocent victim. You are a betrayer, a perjurer, an instrument of evil, far more real and tangible than the imaginary demons you have just confessed to worshiping. A few hours later, as the sun begins to rise, you hear a commotion in the village street outside the small, high window of your cell. You hear shouting. You hear the splintering crash of a door being broken down. And then you hear a scream. It is a woman's scream. A scream of pure terror and disbelief. And you recognize the voice. It is your friend, your neighbor, the woman who gave you bread, the woman whose name you gave to the witch hunter. They have come for her. You have made the pain stop for yourself, but you have not ended it. You have only passed it on. You have become a part of the machine. You have betrayed them all. In the dark, cold cellar, surrounded by the instruments of pain, you have given the witch hunter what he wanted. You have given him names, the names of your friends, your neighbors, women you have shared bread with, men you have known your entire life. You are taken back to your cell, your body a throbbing landscape of agony. But that pain is nothing compared to the new. Sick and hollow feeling in your soul, you are no longer just a victim. You are now a collaborator. Your new life in the witch hole is different. You are no longer alone. In the days that follow, new prisoners arrive, thrown into the surrounding cells. You hear their cries of confusion and terror, and you hear their screams when they, in turn, are taken for questioning. And you know, with a guilt that gnaws at you like a rat, that you are the reason they are here. You listen to the muffled sounds of their suffering, and you recognize your own voice in their cries. After several weeks, after the witch hunter has finished his terrible harvest of confessions, the day of your trial arrives. This is not a process to determine your guilt. That has already been decided. This is a public performance, a piece of legal theater designed to formalize your condemnation and to instruct and terrify the community. You are led from your cell up into the daylight. You are brought to the town's great church, the very place where you were baptized and where you once prayed to God for protection. The church has been converted into a courtroom. The pews are filled with the people of your village, their faces a sea of pale, fearful, and morbidly curious expressions. A great table has been set up before the altar, and behind it sit your judges, the local magistrate, a few prominent town councilors, and at the center, presiding over it all, the witch hunter himself, his face a mask of solemn, righteous gravity. You are brought to the center of the church and forced to your knees. The trial begins. There is no defense attorney. To speak in defense of a witch is to risk being accused of being one yourself. There are no witnesses for your character. There is only the prosecution. And the evidence against you is singular and absolute. It is your own confession, the clerk, the same man who meticulously recorded your words in the torture chamber, stands and reads your confession aloud to the assembled court and the entire town. His reedy voice echoes in the high, vaulted space of the church. He reads your own words back to you, the words you spoke through sobs of pain. He reads your account of the pact with the devil in the forest. He reads your description of your cat, Tomkin, as a demonic familiar who you suckled at the devil's mark on your back. He reads your fantastical, impossible story of anointing a broomstick and flying through the night sky to a witch's Sabbath. You listen to this story, this monstrous fiction that you helped to create, and it feels as if you are hearing about another person. The crowd gasps at the lurid details. They murmur in horror. You see your former neighbors staring at you, their eyes wide with fear and hatred. They believe it. They believe every word. You are a monster. Then the clerk reads the list of your specific crimes. Your maleficium. He reads that you have confessed to causing Conrad's cow to die, Conrad and his wife, sitting in the front row, nod grimly. He reads that you confess to conjuring the hailstorm. The farmers whose crops were damaged glare at you. He reads that you confess to making the baker's child sick. The baker's wife begins to weep. Your coerced confession has validated every fear and superstition in the village, and it has all been focused, like a burning glass, directly upon you. But the worst part is still to come. The clerk now reads the names of your supposed accomplices, the names you gave up in the darkness of the cellar. And she confesses that at this unholy Sabbath, she did see dancing with the devil the widow Elsbeth, and the blacksmith Hans, and the midwife Greta. With each name, you see a new wave of shock and horror pass through the crowd. You see the families of the people you have just condemned. You have not just destroyed your own life, you have destroyed theirs when the reading is complete. The witch hunter turns to you, his voice is grave. "Woman," he says, "you have heard this confession. Read from the official record, do you now, before God and this holy court. Affirm that it is a true and voluntary account of your sins. This is the final, cruel turn of the legal screw. This is the moment of free repetition. Your confession, obtained under the duress of unbearable pain, is not legally valid until you freely affirm it in open court." You look at the witch hunter's cold eyes. You see the executioner standing near the door. You know what will happen if you deny it. You will be taken back to the cellar to have your memory refreshed. The choice is no choice at all. You bow your head, and a single, quiet word escapes your lips. "Yes, let the record show," the clerk intones, his quill scratching, "that the accused has freely affirmed her confession. The trial is, for all intents and purposes, over. The evidence is ironclad. It is your own words. It is the corroborating testimony of the other witches you named, who have also been tortured and have also confessed, and who have also named you in turn. It is a perfect closed loop of pain and lies. Historians will one day debate the legality of these proceedings. They will ask if they were a true perversion of the existing legal system, or if the system itself was designed to allow for such spectacular miscarriages of justice. But you are not a legal scholar. You are just a woman on her knees. Your fate sealed by a story you were forced to invent. The judges confer for a few minutes, a brief, theatrical performance of deliberation, but the verdict was never in doubt. The witch hunter, acting as the head of the judicial panel, stands to deliver the sentence. This court, he announces, his voice booming through the church, finds you guilty, guilty of heresy, guilty of apostasy from the true faith, guilty of entering into a pact with the enemy of all mankind, and guilty of performing works of evil magic against the good people of this community. He pauses, letting the weight of the words settle. For these terrible crimes, there can be only one punishment, a punishment that will cleanse your soul with fire, and that will purify this community of your corrupting presence. It is the sentence of this court that you shall be taken from this place to the place of execution, and there you shall be burned at the stake until you are dead, and your ashes scattered to the winds. May God have mercy on your soul." A great collective gasp and then a murmur of approval runs through the crowd. Justice has been done. The source of their misfortune has been identified and will now be purged. You feel nothing. A strange, cold calm settles over you. The worst has happened. You are a condemned witch. You are led from the church, back towards your cell, to await the day of your execution. The people of your village, the people you have known your entire life, shrink back from you as you pass, their faces filled with a mixture of fear and a righteous, holy hatred. The trial is over. All that is left is the final, purifying fire. Your trial is over. Your confession, extracted in the cellar and affirmed in the church, has condemned you. You are a witch. Found guilty in the eyes of God and the law, you are returned to your cell, but your status has changed. You are no longer an accused person awaiting a trial. You are a convicted soul awaiting the fire. The days that follow are a strange, quiet limbo. The witch hunter and the magistrate have moved on. Their work here done, they are now in a neighboring town, beginning the entire terrible process anew, armed with the list of names you gave them. The sounds of screaming from the cellar have ceased. You are left alone with your guilt and your terror. A priest may visit you. He does not come to offer comfort. He comes to wrestle for your soul. He urges you to show true repentance, to accept the justice of your sentence, to pray for God's mercy on your damned soul. He tells you that while your body must be destroyed to purify the community, your soul may yet be saved from the worst of hell's torments if you die with a contrite heart. You listen to his words, a dead, hollow space in your chest where your faith used to be. Your family might be allowed a final visit. They come to the bars of your cell. Their faces aged by a grief so profound, it seems to have stolen the very color from their eyes. What can you say to them? Can you tell them you are innocent? That your confession was a lie forced from you by unbearable pain? To do so would be to risk implicating them, to cast suspicion upon them as the family of a stubborn, unrepentant witch. So you say nothing. You simply look at them, trying to memorize their faces for the short time you have left. Your silence is a final, protective lie. Then the day comes, the day of your execution. It is often a market day, a day when the town is already full of people from the surrounding countryside. To ensure the largest possible audience for the final lesson, you are taken from your cell. You are not allowed to wear your own clothes, and you are stripped and made to wear a simple, coarse, yellow garment. It is a sinner's shift, a uniform of shame. On your head, they place a tall, conical paper hat, a mitre, painted with crude, lurid images of demons and devils dancing in flames, and your name written beneath. With the word Hex Witch, the procession begins. This is not a quiet, somber walk. It is a loud, formal, and public spectacle. A final piece of religious and civic theater. The procession is led by the town officials. The priest walks ahead of you, holding a great cross. Chanting prayers for the purification of the town, you are placed in a wooden cart, so all can see you in your humiliating costume. Behind you walk the other women you were forced to name, their own faces masks of terror. On their way to their own trials, the cart begins to move, its wheels creaking. It takes a long, slow route through the town. It passes the marketplace, where the vendors and shoppers stop to stare. It passes the church where you were condemned. It passes the houses of the people who accused you. And then, in a final act of psychological cruelty, it passes your own small, empty cottage. You look at the home where you lived your entire life, where you raised your children, where you tended your garden, and you feel a pain so sharp and so deep it is beyond tears. The crowd lines the streets. The entire community has turned out to witness your final journey. This is a common historical fact of your time. A public execution was a major civic event, a powerful combination of religious ceremony, legal theater, and popular entertainment. You are the center of the spectacle, and the crowd is a roaring, jeering beast. They scream curses at you. They call you a servant of Satan, a night hag, a monster. They throw mud, rotten vegetables, and stones at you as you pass. These are the same people you have known your whole life. The woman who bought your herbal remedies for her sick child now screams for your death. The man whose wife you helped to deliver her baby now throws a rock at your head. They look at you, and they do not see a person. They see the source of all their fear, all their misfortune. They see a witch, and they believe that your death will cleanse their community, that the fire that consumes your body will purify their world. Historians will one day debate the meaning of the crowd's participation in these events. Was it purely a reflection of their genuine belief in terror? Or was it a more complex social performance? A carnivalesque release of pent-up aggression? A way for people to affirm their own righteousness by loudly condemning the designated outcast you do not know. You only know the hatred on their faces, the sound of their jeers, and the sting of the stones against your skin. As the procession nears the edge of town, you might be offered a final. Small mercy. An attendant might offer you a cup of strong beer or wine. This is a common custom. It is meant to dull your senses, to numb your fear, to make you more compliant for the final act to come. A screaming, struggling victim would spoil the solemnity of the occasion. You drink it. The liquid is a brief. False warmth in your belly. The procession comes to a halt. You have arrived at the place of execution. It is a field just outside the town walls. A great crowd is already gathered there. And in the center of the field, you see it, waiting for you. A tall, thick wooden post, a stake, driven deep into the ground. At its base is a massive, carefully constructed pile of firewood. Brush and straw, you are pulled from the cart. Your journey is over. The solemn procession has delivered you to your final destination. All that is left now is the fire. You have been tried and you have been sentenced. Your protestations of innocence, which you maintained through the agony of the torture, have been interpreted as the devil's own stubbornness. Your coerced confession, a fantasy of flying broomsticks and impossible crimes, has been read aloud and affirmed as legal fact. The verdict is guilty. The sentence is death by fire. Let us imagine a different path. Let us imagine that your will was not so strong. Let us imagine that in the cold, dark cellar, faced with the thumbscrews and the strappado. You did what so many others did. You confessed, and more than that, you named names. You gave the witch hunter the list of accomplices he so desperately needed. In this timeline, your sentence is different. You are still found guilty. But because you have cooperated, because you have repented and aided the court in its holy work, you are spared the flames. Your punishment is not death, but a life of public shame. You are sentenced to wear the San Benito, the penitential garment, a rough yellow tunic painted with red crosses. You are a walking symbol of sin and reconciliation, a living warning to others. Your life is ruined, but it is a life. But that is the story of a woman who broke completely. Your story, in this telling, is one of defiance. You have refused to name others. You have refused to give the witch hunter the wider conspiracy his books and his ideology demand. In his eyes, you are not a repentant sinner. You are an obstinate, hardened, and unrepentant witch. And for you, there can be no mercy, only the final, purifying fire. You are led from the church, through the jeering, hateful crowd, and back to the witch hole. Here you will spend your last night on earth. A priest visits you, his face a mask of sorrowful piety. He pleads with you one last time to confess, to renounce Satan, to save your soul from the eternal damnation that awaits it. You are exhausted, you are terrified, but the lies they want you to tell are a poison you can no longer bring yourself to swallow. You remain silent. He leaves, shaking his head, convinced your soul is truly and irrevocably lost. The morning comes, gray and cold. The guards open your cell door. They do not bring your daily ration of stale bread. They bring the uniform of the damned. It is a simple coarse shift of rough spun linen. A sinner's gown? On your head. They place a tall, conical hat made of paper, a mitre of shame, upon which has been painted a lurid, terrifying image of your own soul being tormented by demons in hellfire. You are no longer a woman. You are a living, breathing symbol of evil, a character in a public morality play. The great doors of the town hall are thrown open, and you are led out into the main square. The entire town has gathered. This is the day of the cleansing. This is the day the witch will burn, and your execution is to be a great public spectacle. The procession begins. It is a slow, solemn parade of civic and religious authority. At the front are the town officials. Then comes the priest, holding a great wooden cross high, his voice chanting the Latin rites of exorcism. Then comes you. You are placed in a simple wooden cart, so that everyone in the crowd can get a clear view of you in your costume of damnation. You are the star of this terrible show. The cart begins to move, its wheels creaking. It takes a deliberately slow and circuitous route through the town. It passes the marketplace, where the vendors stop their selling to stare and to jeer. It passes the homes of the people who accused you. They stand in their doorways, their faces a mixture of fear and grim. Righteous satisfaction. They see your punishment as a validation of their own piety, a confirmation that the misfortune that befell them was not their fault, but yours. The crowd that lines the streets is a roaring, hateful beast. They scream curses at you. They call you a bride of Satan, a hag, a monster. They throw rocks and filth at you in the cart. A sharp stone cuts your cheek, and you feel the warm trickle of your own blood. But you do not react. You are in a state of shock so profound that the physical world seems distant, unreal. You look out at the faces in the crowd, faces you have known your entire life. You see the baker, the blacksmith, the women you once shared stories with at the village well, and you see nothing but hatred. Historians will one day debate the meaning of this crowd behavior. Was it a pure expression of religious hysteria and genuine fear? Or was it also a kind of carnivalesque release? A sanctioned moment of violence and communal bonding against a designated scapegoat. You only know that the love and community you once felt from these people has been transformed into a single, unified, and murderous rage. The procession finally leaves the town gates and makes its way to an open field. A great crowd is already gathered there. And in the center of the field, you see it. It has been prepared for you. A thick, tall wooden post, the stake, is driven deep into the earth. Around its base is a massive, carefully constructed pyre of dry firewood. Brush and straw. You are pulled from the cart and dragged to the stake. The executioner and his assistants are waiting. They are not menacing figures. They are simply workmen, their faces impassive. About to perform the final, grim task of their trade, they chain you to the post. The cold. Heavy iron a final, inescapable reality. The priest approaches you one last time. He holds the cross before your face. "My child," he says, his voice loud for the crowd to hear. "It is not too late. Confess now. Repent, kiss the holy cross, and beg for God's forgiveness. And perhaps he will grant you mercy in the next life." You look at the cross. You look at the priest's earnest, pleading face, and you think of the lies you were told to speak, of the friends you were told to betray, and you find you have nothing left to say. You turn your face away. The priest steps back, shaking his head. He has done his duty. He has offered mercy to the unrepentant sinner. The rest is in God's hands. The magistrate gives the signal. The executioner steps forward with a lit torch. The crowd falls into a deep, expectant hush. You close your eyes. You think of your small cottage, of the smell of the forest after the rain, of your husband's face. You hear a great whoosh as the torch is put to the dry straw at the base of the pyre. It catches instantly. You hear the sharp crackle of the dry wood as the flames begin to lick their way up the pile. You feel the first wave of heat on your feet and your legs. The smoke comes first. A thick, black, acrid cloud that billows up around you. It fills your lungs. A choking, suffocating blanket. You cough, your eyes streaming. The roar of the fire grows, a sound like a grate. Hungry beast. The heat is a solid wall, a physical presence that seems to consume you. The crowd watches in silent, mesmerized awe. They are witnessing a great and terrible purification. They believe that this fire is not just destroying your corrupt flesh, it is cleansing their community of your evil. restoring the balance, and placating an angry god. Your world dissolves into a roaring, orange chaos of heat and smoke and pain. Your consciousness, your very self, begins to unravel. Your life, which began with a petty dispute over a chicken, is ending in this great, public, and holy conflagration. You are the sacrifice, you are the lesson, and as the flames consume you, you have become the ultimate, terrible proof of the brutal reality of your world.